Before we get started today, I would like to draw attention to a GoFundMe that my friend and the moderator of our Discord channel, Malcaria, is running. She's trying to raise money to visit her brother who is stationed in Japan. She's trying to raise $1,800 by May 16th. I had said April 28th previously. That's just because I don't know how to read. So that was my mistake. So she's trying to raise that much money by May 16th, which still isn't very long. And I'll include a link to the GoFundMe in the description. If you have any money at all that you're able to donate, I would be very appreciative if you would consider chipping it in to help my friend go and see her brother who is stationed in Japan. So, thank you very much for listening and donating any money if you do, and now let's get back to business. Okay, today we are playing a game on King's Row. We are in the Silver SR range, and we will be playing Soldier 76 the entire way through. And because we are in the Silver SR range, I don't particularly care what our team composition is, because people in Silver don't know how to play their heroes correctly yet, and as a result, team compositions don't function as they should, so there's not much point worrying about team composition. So we're just gonna start the game. So we're standing all the way over here at the start. This is a kind of a scary place to start as Soldier, just because the attacking team is fairly likely to have a Widowmaker, and since, you know, it's a pretty good starting point for Widowmaker. So they're fairly likely to have a Widowmaker, and in the near future they're extremely likely to have a Hanzo. And if there is one, it's a little scary to run away from them, because you have to go quite far away. You have to jump to the other balcony or jump down and then run all the way over to your team. So if you're going to stand up on the high ground, it's better to stand on the balcony on the right-hand side instead, just because you're closer to your team and cover that you can use, because, I mean, this is cover as well, but it's on the opposite side of the courtyard to your teammates, so this is kind of a scary place to start as Soldier. You do it, or any long-range hero for that matter, just because of the high likelihood of there being a sniper and the distance you have to go to get to safety. In general, we don't really like to stand on the left side of the statue at all on King's Row when defending, because if you get in trouble, you have the entire courtyard to go through to get back to safety. So, we can't really do very much up here, so we're going to move back over here. We could take this time to go up on the balcony above us, but we decided we're going to stay down here on the low ground. Or we could go and stand in one of the windows, like way above us as well. But we decided to come out here on the low ground. It does take a long time to get to the windows, and they are trying to push in right now, so there's that. So we're trying to be sneaky right now and pick off Mercy. Yes. It's very, very small Swiss lady, hard to see. So we're very far back. That's good. We like to be very far back as Soldier. Just like chuck those Helix rockets out, because we've sat on this one for a while. You just shoot it at the barrier and try to break it. Orissa's barrier isn't very healthy. I say we've sat on it for a while. It's been like 2 seconds, but you know, we can just throw them at the Orissa's barrier. Orissa's barrier isn't very healthy, and getting it out of the way as quickly as possible is a big deal. We do it in the end, so you know. But you do want to do it as quickly as possible, get that cooldown ticking so you can use them again as soon as possible. So Zarya has gotten into an unfortunate position, and we're after Zarya right now. She's not going to get away. Like, it's not feasible for her to get away. So fight's still happening back here. We didn't exactly want Zarya just hanging out behind us, so that was important to deal with. Just use the biotic field. Because we're standing around with less than Tracer health right now, and Tracer doesn't like being at Tracer health, so we definitely don't want to be at Tracer health when we are slow, immobile man. In general, we don't use Biotic Field very much during this game. We stand around when we're wounded, rather than actually using the Biotic Field quite frequently, which is not ideal. Soldier is, he's a slow old man who's quite easy to hit. So we don't want to be standing around in, like, one-shottable HP range. In general, like, it doesn't matter who you are. You don't want to be in one-shot range, really. Which is why Tracer's really upset about Bridget getting added to the game. But that's a different issue. Bridget's really good, by the way. Recommend playing Bridget. So this is a scary fucking maneuver that we do right here. Like, we have decided that we're going to drop down and go after this Reaper. This Reaper could be full health when we come through this doorway, because there's a large health kit in here. So the fact that he doesn't kill us is honestly quite miraculous, That's a very scary maneuver to go for. Soldier, in general, dislikes being very close to people, and Reaper very much likes being very close to people. So we come into Reaper's range, and he could have picked up that health kit, and then we ain't gonna kill him before he kills us in that situation. So that's a very scary maneuver. I don't recommend doing that one. You know, we know he's down there, so that's obviously bad, but just, like, pushing through the doorway by ourselves as Soldier, that is not a recommended maneuver. So, this is about the best high ground you get on the entire map, Soldier 76. Unfortunately, you don't get to stay up here for very long, usually, because this is what happens. So we can just stay and fight Genji, really. Like, as soon as this happens, just put Biotic Field down, turn around, and fight Genji. Because our Helix rockets are almost off cooldown, and if they're off cooldown, Genji isn't that hard to kill. Genji has to be very good to kill you through Biotic. Well, he doesn't have to be very good, but he has to be good to kill you through Biotic Field. This is a general thing with soldiers. There are quite a few heroes in the game where he can just put down Biotic Field and fight them. And unless they're very good, they aren't going to kill him. Like Tracer's trying to kill you, you just put Biotic Field down and fight Tracer. She has to track you, she has to one-clip you to kill you, which is very hard to do. Diva, you can just put it down and fight her. Winston, you can just put it down and fight him. Genji, you can just put it down and fight him. So, like, we don't necessarily need to run away from the Genji in that situation. Like, as soon as he hits us in the back, we can just put it down. So I decided to use Tac Visor right now. This is a bad time to use Tac Visor. For several reasons. First off, Orisa just put a fresh barrier in the way. So that's inconvenient, because now we're going to have to walk through the barrier if we want to hit anybody, which is not ideal for Soldier. Using Tac Visor on the low ground is generally not recommended, because it's very easy to die on low ground when you use Tac Visor, because you are going to draw massive amounts of aggro to you as soon as you put it on. And also, just being on high ground typically gives you a bigger line of sight, which is important for Tac Visor as well. King's Row is fairly anomalous in that there isn't much high ground for the defenders to take advantage of, but this is just a general thing. The other reason to not use Tac Visor right now is because Zenyatta's using Transcendence, which means that we aren't going to kill anybody. Now, as you can see, our entire team gets killed right behind us anyway, so things were not going to go well regardless, but we should not have used Tac Visor in that situation. It was bad to do so for several reasons. Oh, here comes... Yep. He's like, I made this. I did all this. Me. So now we are... fortunately, they've stopped pushing the payload because they were so into killing people on the second checkpoint. So, you know, we get back up here. We can't really go up and contest it because they've already captured it. So, you know, that's alright. This is like the best point to defend on King's Row, honestly, anyway. So, it is good to stand up where we're going right now, but the enemy team are pretty far up right now, so we can't actually go and stay there. That is like the best place you can stand, typically, but usually it's better to stand up there once the payload is actually turned around this corner, because then the enemy team are actually going to be trying to push into you. So Reaper's on the platform to the top left of us, and I know this because I just saw Reaper shoot the ground. Wait for it. There you go. That's Reaper right up there right now. That's Reaper. We don't even look up at him. He shoots us again in a second. Look, like, we don't even look up at him. Reaper being up there is really scary because, I mean, it's Reaper, so he probably wants to jump down and spin on us, and we very much hate being spun upon. I don't know why we don't pick up the health kit right there. Like, it was there, right? Just pick up the health kit. Like, you're not full health right now. Technically, you are. 219, but you're not full health. Pick up the full health. Pick up the health kit and get the full health. Or use Biotic Field. It gives you ult charge if you heal yourself, and not much is happening right now because they got wiped really quickly. So our team are starting to move further back, so there's that. I have just... Torbjorn's turret has just told me that somebody is still up on the high ground, because it just very briefly targeted somebody up there. So that's still Reaper, probably. And that's very scary. And nobody has noticed that Reaper is up there, it looks like. Somebody's up there, and I assume it's Reaper, because I don't think he died during that team fight. This is not recommended, right? Like, this... Remember what we were saying about the balcony earlier? About it being a very far way to get to safety? Well, this is the exact same thing. Is if we get in trouble up here, we have to go pretty far. We have to go down that entire hallway to get back to safety. Here's Reaper, finally. Like, the fact we never noticed him or tried to deal with him when he was on that high ground is very upsetting, because obviously we don't want Reaper up there. So, like, standing up here is great if we still have the second checkpoint to defend. Like, if you can stand up here while they're turning this corner over here, that's great. We don't have that anymore. They're, like, pushing under, they'll push under us right now. And in fact, the angle that they will take to, because they're going to come down the right side of this alleyway, we won't even see them from up here. So, this, and now, fuck. The enemy team are between us and the enemy team. That's really bad. Look how far we gotta go to get back to our team as immobile soldier man. Also, just like use biotic field again. We've been up here wounded. Just like get back to full health. So we are going to die up here. This is we are being collapsed upon right now. And we've got a lot of health because we got shields and armor, but they're going to kill us. We should not have been up there. It's not a good place to stand at this point. High ground control is really important, but by this stage of the game, that high ground is no longer any good to us. Unfortunately, King's Row doesn't have very good high ground to take advantage of as the defending team. It's very anomalous in this way. At least for Soldier, because of course we can't get up to this high ground. Widowmaker or Hanzo can get up there. We can't get up there, so that's very unfortunate. Unless there's some sick helix jumps you can do that I don't know about, but I would be surprised if there were. So we've almost got Tac Visor, that's cool. Tac Visor in general is not very good on King's Row, just because of the amount of plays. Genji's about to kill himself, by the way. Dashed to try and cut somebody and fell in the pit, so... yeah. So what I was saying, Tac Visor in general is not very good on King's Row just because of the amount of places your teammate, the enemy team rather, can go to get out of line of sight. Like, look at how many places they can go to get out of the way right here, right? First off, they got the payload, they got this barrier, and any other barriers they might have. Then go behind this door wall, they can go into this room over here, they can play around this corner right here, they can disappear into the catwalk back there. You know, they can go up here and there if they're if they've got vertical mobility. They can disappear above this part if they've got vertical mobility. There's so many places, and like the whole map is like that. There's so many places that the because this is all of the map sans the first checkpoint is just like a long corridor. So there's like lots of places that the enemy team can just get out of line of sight very quickly. And because there aren't very many like long lines of sight with high ground, I find Soldier is typically less good on this map than McCree is, because McCree is more well-equipped to fight in, like, confined locations, and Deadeye is an ultimate that is frequently used just for zoning, whereas Tac Visor is an I'm going to kill you now ultimate, so it's very sad. But at the same time, McCree is very hard, and kind of just worse than Soldier in many ways, so... there's also that. So there goes Reinhardt. He shouldn't really be doing that, but it's what he's decided to do, and now he's dead. He did at least kill Zenyatta. So this is not a very good time to use Tac Visor, because we're in front of the entire enemy team. Now, they do a very bad job of dealing with us, but this is something that we should die for doing, because we've used Tac Visor again on the low ground, and we're now walking in to the entire enemy team. The only reason we really get away with this is because we have more than 200 hit points right now. So it's hard, and they don't collapse on us very well. So we get away with what we should not have gotten away with, basically. I'm not really opposed to pushing through the barrier and trying to kill Orisa, because there aren't very many people near her, and we have biotic field. So rather than use Tac Visor right now, I would just, like, try and walk through the barrier and, like, drill into Orisa's head, because her head's very big and very easy to hit, so there's that. And, like... we just have to go into so many enemy team members right now to make this happen that it's not a safe maneuver, and it's quite miraculous we don't die. We are also in Silver SR, so they don't really respond appropriately. This is also a general thing I noticed earlier that I have forgotten to mention until this point in time. I don't usually like to comment on aim, because aim better is not helpful advice, but what I noticed watching the game is that when we're fighting people, we're very fidgety while we're actually trying to fight people. And I don't know if that's because your sensitivity is too high, so it's reading every little inching input. Like, usually having a very low sensitivity is good. Most people have, like, less than 10. I have 4. I don't know if it's that, or just, like, nerves and just being, like, panicky and shaky in combat, but I've noticed that our aim is very, like, fidgety and shaky when we're trying to fight people. So, maybe lower the sensitivity or just work on staying calm, because it's we're very, very fidgety in combat. And Soldier is a lot about, like, tracking, because he has an automatic weapon, so, you know, obviously. So, the enemy team not exactly making much headway, because they don't know how to push, basically, is the gist of it right now. They've had several opportunities to try and push him, but they just haven't done anything. Look at that, 350 health points right now. And if we had Bridget on the team, we'd have even more. Bridget's an absolutely incredible hero. Oh, I played a game with a Torbjorn as a Bridget, and I was just walking around with, like, 450 health. 475, I think it comes out to. Yeah, like, it's insane. That's just basically Reinhardt at that point. It's absolutely madness. And then if you also had Symmetra's shield generator, that'd be even crazier. But they're about to take that out of the game, so, you know. So this is quite far forward to be a Soldier, and that's very scary. If we're going to stand this far up so that we can shoot people down this hallway, I'd rather we were standing in the room behind us with the large health kit, because then we can stand in that doorway, and we're further away from the enemy team, which is good. We've got the large health kit to heal us if we need it, and it's just a safer path to get back to the team, basically, as well as just being further away from the enemy team. Soldier in general likes to be as far away from the enemy team as possible, because Soldier has very long range. He's not quite sniper range, like he's not Widowmaker, you know, shockingly enough, he's not quite Widowmaker, but he is only one step below Widowmaker in terms of range, so he likes to be very far away from people. And because he has a self-sustain and biotic field, he's less dependent on healers and his teammates than compared to most people, so he likes to be far away. So Genji's using Dragon Blade again. His entire team is dead right now, so it's not exactly going to pay huge dividends, even if he does kill anybody. And everybody is walking around with an extra 150 health points right now, so it didn't exactly work. Don't be the Genji that goes in 1v6. So Reaper's behind us right now. He killed Torbjorn, and he breaks the shield generator. So if we look in the kill feed, like, what we see in the kill feed should already tell us that Reaper is behind us, because we saw Torbjorn was dead, we saw Reaper killed him. That means Reaper's over there. We should be concerned with that. We don't seem to realize that Reaper is behind us right now. Oh, there's Reaper. Oh, fuck, we just, like, tripped over him. Like, he's been back here for a while. The kill feed is very important. It tells you things like who is alive on your team currently, and, well, who is dead, but that also tells you who is alive. And also, based on what appears in the kill feed, you can know where someone is. Like, if Reaper killed somebody who is traditionally very far away from the enemy team, that means Reaper's behind you right now, and that you should probably turn around and try to deal with that, because we don't like Reaper being behind us, especially as someone like Soldier. So this is also not a very good time to use Tac Visor, because we're currently almost dead. We've even got Discord Orb on us right now. This is also not a very good line of sight, and the enemy team can just come through that doorway and start fighting us. But, like, we had less than 100 health while we had Discord Orb on us, and we still decided to use Tac Visor. That's not very recommended. It would be better if we had it right now, and we could fall back into the larger area behind us and use Tac Visor all the way back there. And it would be very hard for the enemy team to get to us, and we would just be able to just, like, drill into them. Instead, the Tac Visor ended up doing not very much of anything. So, that's unfortunate. Fortunately, the entire enemy team are bad, so as we can see, doesn't matter. They just all died. So, you know, there's that. We don't, in general, do a very good job of leveraging Tac Visor in this game, and Tac Visor is one of the strongest ultimates in the game. You know, it's definitely, like, top 5. Probably top 3. It's probably like Dragon Blade, Graviton. You could argue Graviton is higher than Dragon Blade, but Dragon Blade is like entirely self-sufficient. You know, Genji can kill people by himself. Graviton is sort of dependent on other factors. So I would say it's probably like Dragon Blade, Graviton, Tac Visor. So the fact we don't do a very good job of leveraging it is unfortunate. Mind you, King's Row is one of the harder maps to leverage Tac Visor because of the geometry. But still, we don't do a very good job of leveraging it. Also, we don't do a very good job of using, we don't use Biotic Field as, often as we should. That is also fairly apparent during this as well. I neglected to mention it, but there was a point where we could have used Biotic Field to heal our tanks as well during that defending round. There was a point where Orisa and Reinhardt were in front of us and lower on health. Like, I think Orisa was like half health at the time. We could have gone up and put Biotic Field behind them. And I think we were wounded at the same time. I meant to mention it, but I, of course, forgot when it actually came up. So there was that. But you can run up, like, running up and putting Biotic Field with your tanks is often quite strong. So especially if they need healing, like, just going up and putting it with your tank line during, like, the initial skirmish can be a big thing. And because it heals your tanks and helps them win. But on a more base level, you get ult charge for it. So, you know, there's that as well. So we're sitting really far back right now. The barrier is in our way, which is unfortunate. Reinhardt decided that he didn't want to live anymore, so, you know. Reinhardt's like, got one. Yep, that's true, but our main tank died, so we can't actually push through the doorway right now, because our main tank died. Winston's also dead, so that's cool. We can go stand up on the balcony up here. That's cool. We do know they have a Widowmaker. We saw Widowmaker, so that's scary. Well, we saw Widowmaker's bullet, so that's scary. But we can come and stand up here. That's cool. We just have to be wary of Widowmaker. So basically the whole time we're standing up here, we gotta be, like, keeping an eye on this doorway, because this is where Widowmaker is most likely to appear to try and shoot us, or the, you know, the window further back, or the other side of that balcony. If we're gonna be up here, we gotta keep an eye out for where Widowmaker is likely to be. Because she's the biggest threat to us while we're up here. So Reinhardt's going in again. We got a Bastion on our team. That's cool. We just killed Genji. Symmetra's dead as well. Now we're going to come up here onto the other high ground. This is good. We're doing a good job of controlling the high ground. High ground's really overpowered, so that's good. This is one of the best places to stand as Soldier, and also you can hop to the other balcony as well. So if the fight starts moving up this way, and that's a very ambiguous drawing right there. If the fight starts going like behind this wall over here, we can just hop over here and stand on the other balcony and get over there really quickly. So this is, if you can get to stand up here as Soldier or McCree as well, this is fantastic. Now, I would move further. I would move up to the other balcony at this point. Now, we don't jump across, which is unfortunate. You can helix jump as well to make it a bit easier, but like I think you can just sprint across it. Sprint jump, that is. I would have moved over here sooner during the last fight just because they were getting pushed further back, but we're over here now. And so here, try not to stand perfectly still when you're firing. Because Widow just managed to miss a stationary target very narrowly. Now we died. But, like, I know you're focusing on trying to shoot the Mercy right now, but try not to stand perfectly still while you're firing at people, because this can happen. She shouldn't have missed that first shot. Like, we should have never even gotten the opportunity to react to that, but she's bad and missed a stationary target. As soon as that happens also, you know exactly where Widow is. I know you want that Mercy dead, but, like, turn and try to kill the Widow instead, because the Widow's gonna kill you. And if you're, like, Mercy's hard to kill in Valkyrie anyway. Widow is fairly, look at that. Widow is fairly easy to kill, right? So I would rather, as soon as that bullet happens, we just immediately turn and try and deal with the Widowmaker, because otherwise we're gonna die, and we don't want to die. Not dying is step one. Everything else comes as a result of not dying. So anyway, our team won the fight regardless. Bastion killed a bunch of people. Mercy was very low, so she got finished off by Bastion, I believe. Widowmaker is still up there, which is unfortunate. Somebody has to go and deal with it, and it might as well be us. It looks like we might not have realized Widowmaker was up there, based off the fact we seemed surprised that that happened, but, you know, we should be trying to deal with the Widowmaker, seeing as she was basically trying to flank us at the time. Widowmaker's not good at flanking, but, you know, she was trying. Anyway, God bless her heart. So we decide that we're going to go around this way. We should not be doing this, because Soldier is very bad at what we're trying to do right now, which is flank. Soldier's a very bad flanker. Also, we use Tac Visor right now. It's not even worth using Tac Visor right now. Like, first off, we shouldn't do this baseline, because Soldier is not good at flanking, right? Like, if you're going to flank, just pick a flanker, right? This is not what Soldier is good at. he's immobile and he's easy to collapse on and kill, right? And if you're behind them, it's very easy for them to collapse on you and kill them. And it takes soldiers such a long time to get into position, and it's so easy to kill him that it's just not worth the effort, because it's so unlikely to work. But, like, even so, you're better off not using tac visor looking at this, because the people we're aiming at right now are easy to hit, right? Like, they don't know we're here. You're better off just, like, shooting into Bastion's core, right, without even using tac visor, because you can't get headshots when you're using tac visor. So we'd be better off not even using tac visor in this situation, but they do just turn around and immediately try to kill us, as they should do. So, don't do that. Soldier's very bad at that. Soldier's whole thing is just that he does very consistent damage, right? So your goal is to do as much consistent damage as possible. So if you have to, like, spend a long period of time not shooting at anything, like getting into position, you need a really good reason to justify removing yourself from the game for that long, right? And flanking a soldier is very unlikely to work, so that's not a very good reason to remove yourself from the game for a long period of time. You're better off just hanging out behind your team, shooting at their front line, breaking their barriers, farming ult off the tanks, and then trying to pick off squishy targets as they become available. Flanking is not Soldier's back. He's not good at that. That's what all the... There goes Bastion. Should he be doing that? No. Heavens no. God no, he shouldn't be, but he is. Then Reaper decides to double down on that mistake, and that doesn't work either, shockingly enough. So again, we remove ourselves from the fight for a very long time to get into not that good of a position. We do manage to pick off Moira, because she was low health, and we hit her in the skull with a rocket, so that, you know, that'd probably kill me, especially if I wasn't at full health at the time. So we run away from D.Va in this situation, fair enough. I've gone forward rather than back. Forward and back, and then forward and back, and then go forward and back. What the fuck? Okay. I guess I pushed end, but whatever. Alright, so, you know, what shambles? Oh god, oh, professionalism, oh, good lord. Oh, it's in here somewhere. Oh, further forward, further forward. Further forward, oh my god. So we run, alright, we got, finally! Oh. So D.Va jumps on us right here, and that's very scary. Because D.Va can kill us. As soon as that happens, we could just put down Biotic Field and try to kill D.Va. Or take her out of mech, rather. We probably wouldn't kill her. But, like, we don't need to run away this far. Because Moira starts healing us. So there's that. We've also got Biotic Field. And we could just, like, run into the bar, pick up the large health kit in there, or run into the bookstore and pick up the small health kit in there, and then we're good. Instead, we spend a very long time running away from D.Va. Moira spent the whole time following us, by the way, because she's going to come out of that pathway behind us in a second. We didn't need to run that far back, because there were health kits nearby, and we still had Biotic Field. But, you know, it was super safe, but we do, again, take ourselves out of the fight for a very long time by doing so, which we don't want to do, as, in general, like, we don't want to do that, but Soldier, in particular, is all about this consistent DPS. So Genji wasn't allowed to do that, Genji's dead. Now we run the entire same path back we did again. We could have done the exact same things as previously. We could have just gone in and picked up one of the health kits adjacent to us, and then used used Biotic Field. Lazy Pirate is very upset. Lazy Pirate is not playing Bastion, which would be a very appropriate name for Bastion, actually, given the advent of the pirate ship. But, you know, whatever. They weren't wrong. Oh no, useless tank. The one who's saying useless tank is Reinhardt, so I guess there's some kind of argument happening in the chat of, you know, whatever. He is bad, though, to be fair. You know, he's in silver. Of course he's bad. Not to imply I'm good. Everybody's bad. We're all bad. Every elo is elo hell. That's the secret. I'm going to record a bunch of games of me playing Bridget. I recorded a bunch already, but the footage is basically not usable because there's mad stuttering in the entire video, so I intend to record a bunch of games with Bridget, and then show those off, and you'll soon find out that every elo is elo hell. If you didn't already know. It never gets better. So our entire team has ended up in a fairly unusual position. Just put Biotic Field down right now. Anna needs healing, and you've taken damage, but like Anna's... I'm kind of covering it up, but Anna's in front of us, nearly dead right now. So you put Biotic Field down for Anna, and it would heal you as well. Just like, you know, put it down. Think about your teammates. You do have healing as soldier, so if somebody on your team needs healing, you should put the Biotic Field down for them. Especially if they're your healer. So... that went really well. They're all dead now. Hooray. We had a bunch of ultimates to use, which means we get to win the fight. That's just kind of how Overwatch is, basically. Finish off Baby D with the Helix rocket. Now she's very staggered because her whole team died like a good 10 seconds ahead of her. So that's terrible. Now they're going to have to wait a really long time for the team to regroup. This is the best place to stand when you're attacking a soldier. But... you do have to keep an eye on the right-hand side because, of course, there is a doorway right over here. So... it's quite easy for somebody to suddenly, like, flank on you, and you can't see them coming, right? Because you can't see that door from here where they would go in. So you do have to just, like, look over in that direction every now and then to make sure that somebody isn't flanking you, because it is quite easy for them to get to you right here. But this is, like, the best line of sight you can get as Soldier on this map, attacking-wise, anyway. You can also, go upstairs and stand in, like, that window, but that takes a very long time to get to, and it isn't even that good of a line of sight. So, there is also that. So we're shooting up a D.Va right now. D.Va is, of course, you know, we want D.Va dead, but I'd honestly rather try and break the barrier over there, or try and shoot one of the squishy targets, rather than the D.Va, who's hard to hit right now. And, like, the D.Va up there, like, we'll never really do anything that amounts to it. We'll never do anything that amounts to anything, right? Because she is in a position where we'll never take her out of mech, because as soon as if we were ever become in danger of taking her out of mech, she could just get out of line of sight so quickly that it's not even really worth putting much damage into her right now, because it's probably not going to amount to anything. We are getting ult charge off of shooting her, but we can be doing more productive things right now than shooting at D.Va, because, well, that's never going to do anything to her, really. So Genji comes up with Dragon Blade, kills a bunch of people, you know. What can you do? There's not much you can do about it. What can you do? Tell him 16. That's right. Dragon Blade's just one of those ultimates, especially if you are a... oh, I see. Bastion has been calling Reinhardt a useless tank. He is bad. Like, both of them are bad. Everyone's bad. We're bad. I'm bad. Everybody's bad. That's just how it is. People in the Overwatch League, also bad. People in top 500, also bad. I know of a man in top 500 that thinks Zarya is a trash hero and Hanzo counters Pharah. Everybody's bad. It's just degrees of badness. Every individual game about Overwatch is not about which team is better, it's about which team is less boosted. That's the secret of this game. Also, ultimates are overpowered. Except Bridget. Rally's a really bad ultimate. But Bridget's really good, so it evens out. A rare instance of the hero being better than their ultimate. There are examples of that. Pharah is better than Barrage, you know. So here is a situation where you put Biotic Field down because you need healing, and people are currently trying to kill Bastion. We don't want Bastion to die, and we're very low health right now. Just like, put Biotic Field down, heal you and Bastion, so you can both keep fighting, and you get ult charge off of it, and nobody dies. Good times. Biotic Field, good ability. Here, also, you know, this is a decent time to use Biotic Field, because they're probably going to shoot at Bastion. And we can see Reaper getting killed in front of us. And, you know, people might say, well, it should be the healer's job to heal those people. Yeah, but people are bad, as we've covered previously, so, you know. Usually we have to cover for other people. This is how solo queue in general is with all team-based games. So this is kind of a scary place to stand, because we're looking at Orisa and we're right next to an edge. So if she uses Halt correctly, she can try and pull us off the edge, which we would not be very fond of as Soldier. You use Biotic Field quite late again. Again, try not to stand perfectly still while you're shooting at people, because it makes it way easier for you to die. Now we stand perfectly still while we're shooting, but there's a bomb happening over there, so fair enough. But try not to stand perfectly still when you're shooting. And like, it doesn't look like anything's gonna happen to you, but it can, right? Like, you know, and moving around doesn't really do much to you. So just like, you know, move around a little bit more. So again, we're really scared of this Genji. There's no reason to be. We can put Biotic Field down and fight Genji again. And there's a large health kit right next to us. We could just pick it up right now, keep fighting Genji, right? At the very least, take it so he doesn't get it. You know, Soldier doesn't like people diving on him, but you can fight quite a few people who dive on you, because oh, there we go. No, let's see what we got in the recommended videos today. A lot of my own videos. Nice. You know, Ultimate Twitch fails. I've never watched anything like that. I don't watch anything about Fortnite. Yeah. I don't even know who Paul Gascoigne is. Whatever. So, the basic things is, the things that stand out the most. We don't have great uptime. We do a lot of running away from people, repositioning when we don't need to, and trying to flank. So, in general, our uptime isn't very good. Our target prioritization wasn't great, you know. I'm thinking specifically of the D.Va instance. There were other instances during the game that I have, again, forgotten to mention as they were happening because I'm a very professional individual. But in general, our uptime isn't very good because we keep removing ourselves from the fight. Yeah, running away from people, trying to flank, and blah, 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 blah. Secondarily, we don't leverage Tac Visor very good. In general, most heroes, the strongest thing about them is their ultimate. So it is typically the thing we're trying the hardest to leverage, because that's the strongest thing about the hero. There are exceptions. Rally is not very good. Like, Bridget's better than Rally. Barrage is better than Pharah, as we said, but typically the ultimate is the thing you're trying to leverage the most, and we don't do a great job of leveraging Tac Visor in this game. It is hard to leverage on King's Row because of the geometry, but even so, we still don't do a very good job of leveraging it, you know, using it while we're flanking, which is not ideal, using it while we're low health, pushing into the entire enemy team to try and use it like, by ourselves, so we don't do a good job of that. We don't use Biotic Field as much as we should do, because we're standing around wounded quite frequently. We've seen teammates in front of us who are wounded, and we don't use Biotic Field to try and heal them. We are trying to leverage our ultimate as much as possible. Here's how it goes with Overwatch, right? The ultimate is usually the most powerful thing about your hero, and then the second most powerful thing about your hero is your abilities. Very few heroes are defined by their weapon. Some are. Widowmaker, obviously, defined by her weapon, but most heroes are defined by their ultimate, their abilities, and then their weapon. So, we want to leverage our ultimate as much as possible. We want to leverage our abilities as much as possible. So, you know, if, like, you're playing Roadhog and you use Take a Breather and you only recover, like, 100 health out of the heal, that's really bad efficiency. But at the same time, you want to use it as soon as possible, because we also want to get the cooldown going as quickly as possible. But we want to leverage our abilities as much as possible. So for something like Biotic Field, if we know we're committed to a fight, right, we want to put it down and just start and just use it and try to fight in the Biotic Field, right? Like when Genji comes up on us, D.Va comes up on us, Winston comes up on us, whatever, we can just commit to that fight as long as it's just that one hero. If there's more than one hero diving you, don't bother. But if it's one hero diving you, you can just put the Biotic Field down, commit to the fight, and fight that person in the Biotic Field. And they have to be really good to kill you. Don't do the very traditional thing that soldiers do, which is that they start getting dove, put Biotic Field down, and then immediately leave Biotic Field behind, because you don't want to put Biotic Field somewhere and then have to leave it behind immediately, because it's a 15-second cooldown. So if you use that for no reason, that's a long time. You don't have access to it again. But like, so, you know, Biotic Field is a very good heal, especially for a DPS, right? Not many DPS have an on-demand heal, so it's a very defining thing about Soldier. So if you, as soon as you start fighting somebody, or you're just wounded, just like put it down, heal up, fight the person in the Biotic Field. Helix Rocket, just throw it out there as often as possible as well, because it's not a utility ability, it's purely damage, and it has quite a short cooldown of only 7 seconds, so that's something you just want to throw out there as often as possible, because, again, Soldier's thing is just about doing as much damage as possible. Just throw it into somebody if you think that you can hit them. just throw it into a barrier if there's nobody to be shooting at the time. Just like throw it out there because it's just 120 extra damage, right? That you just do. So it just increases your DPS to use it as frequently as possible. And Soldier is about doing as much consistent DPS as possible. And people say, well, what if I have to duel somebody, right? I need Helix Rocket to kill them. Soldier is not a dueling hero, so you should not be sitting on cooldowns of the expectation of what if I get into a duel. Soldier isn't a dueling hero. So you just want to like throw it out there as often as you can to try and do damage to people. And it has a low cooldown. Like if you're fighting somebody, you put Biotic Field down and fight them. Helix Rocket is going to come off cooldown midway through the fight anyway, right? So, like, you'll probably still have it anyway because its cooldown isn't that long. And Soldier has quite good longevity because of Biotic Field and Sprint. So, just throw Helix Rocket out as frequently as possible as well. In general, you know, I'm glad that we understand that the high ground is very important because we do spend quite a bit of time trying to control that, which is good. King's Row not got very many examples of high ground, but the few examples it does have, we are aware of, which is important for Soldier. So that's definitely good. That's like step one, because I'm of the opinion you can get to like gold or plat just by controlling the high ground if you play somebody like Soldier or McCree. So that's great. But work on uptime, execution, and Biotic Field. Basically, those are like the most noticeable things I saw in this game. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. And I hope you found the video helpful.